So I finally finished reading Dune and it absolutely blew my mind. Now, Dune is a book which enjoys a lot of hype and it's been there for over, how long has it been? It has been around for over 40 years. It's a book which is more than 40 years old, and I can completely understand why the book is worshipped the way it is. Now, we all know Dune is being adapted into a new film. It already has two other adaptations. One was majorly done for the television, another was another film by David Lynch. None of them really created any kind of blast, or neither were they major successes, but the book is absolutely amazing, and the new adaptation, I have a feeling, will do that. The visual looks stunning. We are getting great reviews. The business that it is doing overseas is already phenomenal. So I'm very hopeful about it. I have multiple copies of the book, 5 to be precise. This is the one that I read actually. It's a Penguin Galaxy edition, has a foreword by Neil Gaiman. The font size is good. It's slightly heavy, but it was comfortable to read, so I read it from this particular edition. Another edition which I would like to flaunt is this deluxe edition. It is stunning. It's amazing. The cover is brilliant. I love the end papers. It's just stunning, and it has this wonderful, amazing sprayed stained edges, which is blue, which is reminiscent of the eyes of the people, blue inside blue and all of that. So that's really amazing. But somehow this looks so good that I did not want to read it and ruin my copy. So it looks good on the shelf, and that's where it's going to be. The only downside to the book was that it's not exactly a conclusive story, but I do have the complete trilogy. I am gonna read it. I will read it, I know. The first book's down, 2 more books to go. Getting to the book and getting to the things that I liked and what's so great about it. This book, I have clearly understood, is actually the bedrock for everything we have today, which is a part of our pop culture. Star Wars sprouted out of this book. Brandon Sanderson has very clearly followed the format followed in this book for his Mistborn series and later his Stormlight Archives. It's so evident. It's just there. Game of Thrones, George R.R. Martin has taken inspirations from this book, and it's just so rich. This is the source of all the modern fantasy and science fiction, it seems. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Bran, how he knows the present and the past, and he's a connector between the two, that is very much coming from Dune. So it is so, you can see my copy that, I went on and on marking and taking notes and putting things down. It's absolutely amazing. Calming myself down and getting over the overwhelming idea of it, it's very difficult for me to explain the story of Dune because of the narrative, the kind of narrative that has been chosen, which I'll just come back to in a bit. It's very difficult to just state what the story is about. But for me, it was a story about this royal family who had shifted their base and then what happens to them. But at the same time, I know this is a story of a planet and the people of that planet and how they are fighting for their rights. It is a story about the ecology and the fate of a planet. It is a story about greed and how capitalism can actually ruin and end everything. It is all of that. And very effectively how that happens is because of the choice of the narrative that the author has chosen. It does not follow any one set point of view, or it doesn't even follow the very standard different point of views that will change with each chapter or each part of the book. The author is narrating everything at the same time with an omniscient presence. And this was something which came as a very strong criticism from the critics, that it's very hard to comprehend and what's this writing style, and there was a lot of backlash. But I think that's the whole beauty of the book. And I personally don't have a problem with that, because if you pick up the older epics, like if I pick up the Mahabharata for that matter, we are familiar with those kind of narratives, so that didn't really bother me as much. But yes, the shifting of the scenes, how we moved from one setup to another, that at times I found a little bit difficult to get attuned to. This is a book which is exactly of the genre that I enjoy reading. It talks about deep philosophies. It is not set in the real world. It is distant from you. There is a major suspension of disbelief involved. And just because it's not that close to you, you are very effectively able to see the problems that they're trying to show in this world. And hence, after that, when you start observing those problems in your own world, you can see them more clearly. You know what they say, you have to step away from a problem in order to solve it or see it. This is exactly that kind of book, and it's got so much of juice, so much of meat. It's very fulfilling to read. When we talk of the opening lines and when we talk of the beginnings, there is no way we cannot mention Dune. The opening lines again talk about the idea of the beginning. So it says, a beginning is the time for taking the most delicate care that the balances are correct. Every sister of Bene Gesserit knows. Again, it tells you that the beginning, it sets everything afoot. So that's why it's very crucial to understand and see how you want to deal with it. And that's what the author is trying to say here. So will this book be a recommendation from me? Yes, by all means, yes. And the people who worked on this book, the publishers and the editors, they have done something really nice, which I can understand why they took that decision. There are a set of appendices towards the end of the book, and they are titled as Ecology of Dune and Religion of Dune and so on and so forth. And they did not include it in the main text of the book. They just removed and put it at the back. There are details of the world, of the culture, of the people that live there, all of that. But if that would have become a part of the main text, it might have put some people off. So what the author and the editor agreed to do was retain those bits, because they are very important details. And after you finish reading that book, after you are exposed to that world, you do want to know those details. So they have not put that in the main text. They have removed it and put it at the end. So that works very effectively for the people who are science nerds or who are culture nerds who want to know more about the world. It works for them because they can always go and read those bits and understand more. And those people who just are looking for a story and some thrill with the book, it works for them as well, because that's what the main book is all about. I don't want to get into what the story is all about and how things are. Just to mention, there's this one guy, Paul, who is 15 years old, and then there's a set of, these are called Bene Gesserit sisters. And then there's this planet called Dune, on which this spice is grown, which is called melange, and that's like a spice which can really intoxicate you, and that's the most expensive thing in the whole universe. So a lot of people are after that. And then a royal family, to which Paul belongs, is sent to this planet, and then things just go haywire, and then that's how the story is set afoot, and then you just get to know more and more and experience more. There are some very spectacular bits in the book. The sandworms, reading about them was so thrilling. This book is a major recommendation, and I just think you should read it by all means. I am gonna have a detailed discussion about this book with one of my friends, and I'll put it as a podcast and I'll put it as a video here as well. So if you want to know more, if you want to have a deep dive in this book, that's something you would want to look for. Also guys, we'll quickly take a minute to talk about my new book as well. The Part I Left With You is available everywhere. It's getting great reviews, and I'm very happy the way people are understanding the book, because that's exactly how I wanted them to understand. The book right now is available at all bookstores, and it's available online, and there's some very good discount going on right now as well. So if you haven't picked a copy, please do that, and I would love to hear what you think about it and how you liked it. Alright guys, that's all for today. Pick up Dune if you haven't, pick up The Part I Left With You if you haven't, and keep reading, stay healthy, stay safe. Cheers.